Okay, hello, welcome to episode 11 now of Soggy Popcorn, and I'm here with Sai again,
Yes, welcome, welcome, welcome.
and Sink, and we will be talking about films and stuff like that. We're also going to be chatting about the best deaths
Oh yeah.
in movie history. I've made a note of a few, but yeah, and see what you guys think. I think like I might put something up on the site actually. I might like, make a list and get and if people who listen to it or read or do anything, all five of you. But if you send in your best deaths, then I will put them up and I'll
We'll
try and
bring
make a
them up.
little, yeah, try and make a list because there's going to be fucking tons of stuff that we're going to miss
I
out.
will literally not, yeah, I will not think of any, and then I'll be like, oh yeah, all of
Yeah.
those ones,
I was like
because I
trying to
haven't even
think of
thought of
like,
that.
exactly, I was trying to think of like horror and I was like, there must be just so many
Yeah,
horrors that I'm not even going to think of. But yeah, should we
yeah.
start? Well,
Yeah,
you've
but
seen
then like, okay, let's talk about films first, and then talk about deaths
film, life,
before we get so
death.
morbid.
So
Yes, life
yeah,
before
what have
death.
you? I've seen loads of old stuff, but yeah, you've seen all the latest greatest, which is
Okay, I've
probably the
seen some new
stuff that people
stuff.
want to hear.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, now we're coming out of that whole summer blockbuster season, and well, more films kind of thing. So we're getting a few more like big hitters coming out, and starting at the very very early stages of Oscar season stuff. When you start to hear buzz around some of the films coming out. So at least now some more decent original films are coming out thick and fast, which is good. So I have seen. Doesn't necessarily mean they are good, but at least we've got a few more coming out. So the last 10 days or so, I've seen The Visit, Everest, The Martian, and most recently last night, what was it again? I don't even know how to pronounce it. Cesario or Sicario?
Oh yeah, I don't know. I've not had to say it.
Cesario?
Sicario,
I was waiting
Emily Blunt.
for yeah, I was waiting for them to say it during the film, so I'd be like, okay, now I know how to pronounce it. But they didn't say it. It just came up as like a little title. I'm going to go with Cesario. It's a Spanish word, so Cesario.
Studio.
Shall we? Or because if we get it wrong, that means I'm going to be mispronouncing it the entire podcast.
Sucky Sucky. Yeah,
Yeah,
I don't know.
Suki. I'm going to say, I reckon it's Cesario. Let's go with that. I
Okay.
think, I can't remember what the hell it said. There was a title at the beginning of the film. I think it means assassin or hitman in something. It's like in Mexico, they refer to a hitman or an assassin as a Cesario or Sicario, whatever it is.
Okay.
Apparently so. But anyway, yeah, I saw that last night, so it's quite fresh. But I'll do them in chronological order, as and when I saw them, because I forget them as I talk about them. But I'll start with The Visit, and I'll go over that quite quickly because it is a couple of weeks old now. And I did do a video review, but I still need to quickly edit and put up on the YouTube channel. So hopefully in the next few days, you can kind of just watch that instead of listening to this over again. But as we both know, it's M. Night Shyamalan's most recent film, and his most recent film since. Do you remember the film he did before this?
The Happening. Would that have been it? No, the lift one.
No,
Devil.
it was even worse. No, even worse. Oh, I think it's Devil. It wasn't all him, was it? It was like a few directors, right? Was
Was
it?
it? No, Devil
Or
was
was
the
it a
one in
few?
the
Was
elevator.
a few? Yeah, but was that all him though?
No, because wasn't it he was going to release like a
Or
load
did
of
he
them.
produce it?
I don't know. I don't know now.
Yes,
What
it's
you
not.
think?
It's not directed by him. Directed by John Edric Dowell and written by Brian Nelson. It's a story by M. Night Shyamalan. So he
Uh,
wrote the story, but he didn't direct it, which is probably why it was okay. But his most recent film, which I forgot he did, was After Earth, the Will
oh
Smith
fuck,
and some fucking shitty vanity project, which was awful.
that was
I
terrible.
mean, I know he's done some bad films, but that should have been the nail in his directing coffin, really, because I remember seeing that. That might have been exactly 2 years ago, I think, or just over 2 years ago. Because I watched it as soon as I moved out to Asia. And man, I remember thinking it was fucking awful. Will Smith looked so bored throughout the whole thing. It was like when a dad has to go to watch his son play a game of football and he really doesn't want to be there and he's hungover. And it's like kind of have to be here because my son is like, captain of this football team, but I just really don't want to be here. And that's what that film reminded me of, because it just felt like, what's his name? Jaden, the kid.
Yeah.
I was like, Dad, could be my new film, because they said they'll only make it if you're in it. Oh, fucking hell, okay. And then Will Smith just looked so disinterested the whole time, and then Jaden Smith was just like running through this weird futuristic forest, just waving swords around, or whatever the fuck happened. I can't even remember.
I fell asleep, and I remember waking up near the end, being like, I was like, oh God, should I bother watching this again? And Tess was like, please, it's good that you were asleep, basically.
Yeah, I actually watched it. I remember watching it at midnight, and I didn't fall asleep. I watched it in cinema. I just moved out here. My uncle and his nephew were like watching it, and it was like 10 p.m. in the shopping mall, because everyone here watches movies so late. And it's like, yeah, we're gonna watch this. And I'd work the next day, but just for a reason to hang out with them, I was like, yeah, okay, I'll watch it as well. And he was like, okay, watch it at midnight. I was like, yeah, okay, great. And I was just assuming that they would hang out with me until midnight, until the film showing. And he's like, right, okay, we'll be back at midnight, so see ya. And then he just left. So I was in the shopping mall on my own. I was like, right, I've got like 2 hours until this film's gonna start. He's just fucked off with with his son to go home and get like jackets, because it's so cold in the cinemas here. So he didn't even give me the option to come with him. He's like, okay, we're back at midnight, see ya. So I was like, right. So I had nothing to do. So I went into like the arcade and started playing like Time Crisis 15 or whatever it's on now.
Yeah.
And then like this, I think I told you about it at the time. I texted you, because this like, it must have been 8 or something. This kid came up and he was just like, can I play? And I was like, yeah. And then me and him completed the entire thing. And it was like half an hour of like intense gaming. And then at the very end, I died, but then he carried the mantle right to the end, over the finishing line, and he did the last like chapter all on his own. And he's fucking good, man, this kid. And then at the end, I like looked at him. I was like, gonna high five him or something. He was just like, whatever, and just walked away. Like, it's so casual, like he does that every day with a different like white 30-year-old. Yeah. And then I did that. I remember texting you the story, and then yeah, my uncle came back and was like, okay, let's watch After Earth. And he slept the entire time, and I stayed up the whole time watching it, thinking this is shit, and I've got to get up for work in like 5 hours, and I wish I didn't.
Fuck.
But yeah, that was bad. So that was M. Night Shyamalan's most recent film. So this is like The Visit is like a back to basics horror film, and I didn't really like take much notice of the hype coming into it, because I assumed it was like, oh, you know, he's written it and directed it, and it's a kind of raw documentary style horror film. So it's none of these tricks, none of these twists, and M. Night Shyamalan's return to form, or at least I assumed that's what people were going to try and hype it as, because his name was still all over it. And yeah, so anyway, it's a very basic documentary style film about 2 kids who get shipped off for the week to their grandparents' house. But these grandparents they haven't met before, because their mum hasn't talked to her parents, the same people, since she was a kid and she ran away from school or ran away from home. So she's like, okay, a single mom, 2 kids, why don't you go and stay with your grandparents for the week in some remote, snowy farmhouse somewhere, while I go on a cruise with my new, younger South American boyfriend. And, you know, and we'll keep in touch via Skype, but I don't really want to talk to them, because I haven't talked to them since I was a kid when I ran away from them. So it's a bit of a dodgy relationship, but you go fuck off, and, you know, you go and get to know your grandparents, because I'm sure they're okay, really, even though I don't talk to them. That's the premise. And the mum is, she's in quite a lot of comedy stuff, actually. I was quite surprised to see her in it.
Yeah, I saw her in the trailer. She's she's known
a lot of
comedy shit.
Yeah. She's in loads of stuff. Oh, man, I've forgotten her name, actually.
I've forgotten it. Yeah, the one thing that sticks out in my mind is that she was in Step Brothers. I don't know.
Yeah.
But yeah, she's done that.
She's in like in TV shows and stuff. And okay, let's just qualify this a second. Starring. I want to put a name to her, because is it Diana?
I wouldn't know if you said it. I don't think.
No, actually, I don't recognise her. No, that's the old lady in the film. Anyway, yeah, so it's quite surprising to see her play the mum, seeing as she's like a comedy actress. That's it, Catherine Hahn, and she's in a lot of stuff, loads of stuff. In fact, yeah, We're the Millers. That was the most recent thing. I remember seeing her in Dictator and Step Brothers. Yeah, all that stuff. So she plays the mum, and she's as it Tomorrowland. That's the most recent thing I saw her in, and the D Train. Tomorrowland. Remember in Tomorrowland? I didn't actually finish it, but remember when they go into the shop?
She's in the shop with the Black guy.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, yeah, with Thingy from Key and Peele. Yeah, yeah. They play the shop owners, and then they're robots, aren't they?
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, and she's the wife in D Train. That's the one. So yeah, and then so these kids go off and stay with their grandparents. So the kids are annoying for one thing, really annoying, too annoying. There's an older daughter and the younger brother, and they're like the daughter's maybe the girl's like 15 and the brother's like 12 or something. And the girl is this really pretentious aspiring filmmaker who has a really annoyingly broad vocabulary for film language
Okay.
and in general, just spouting out these long, complicated words that no normal 15-year-old should be saying. And her brother is a little wannabe white rapper kid who seems to be able to improvise raps for using anything as material. And it's just they're really irritating, but all it is a vehicle for like why the whole thing is being recorded, because it's that found footage kind of feel. So she's recording everything. She's like, I'm going to make a documentary about meeting my grandparents for the first time, but she's really pretentious about it. So she's making these shooting all these artistic camera angles and just putting the camera in the corner of the room while her grandparents like talk to her, and her nan starts baking cakes, and it's supposed to be this like heartfelt documentary about discovering where her mum grew up and getting to the bottom of why her mum doesn't speak to her parents. And then yeah, so that's it. So it starts out like that, and then the grandparents seem really nice and really friendly, and no. And then they're like, okay, but we kind of go to bed around here at 9 o'clock, just by the way, so get to bed by then. And the kids are like, oh, okay, that's a bit weird.
Yeah, I remember seeing
then,
that in the trailer.
Yeah, which is ridiculous. And then just stuff starts to happen. And I can't go into too much, obviously, because I don't want to spoil it for you, because you're going to watch it soon, aren't you?
Yeah, I'm going to try and watch it.
Basically, like, yeah, and things start to happen in the house, and I can go as far as saying the grandmother starts to act really weird, and doing just weird things like crawling around the house and puking up and stuff, which is in the trailer.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh god, what's grandma doing? And like it's that whole, it's scary at night, and then daytime it's that relief, like day, and then it kind of steals the Shining titles as well, when it's like Wednesday, Thursday.
Classic.
And you think, every day, like the whole kind of Blair Witch feel as well. When it's daylight, you feel like you've survived, like a good, a lot of horror films actually. And then nighttime, it's like, okay, now the horror's going to start again.
Yeah, back again.
But the problem with it, there is no horror, literally no horror in the whole film. And it starts off that whole like, grandma's weird. Oh no, she's just old, and she's just got a weird sleeping disorder where she sleepwalks and has these terrors. So you see everything through the perspective of these kids, and they're filming everything. So you think that there's going to be a twist, not just because it's M. Night Shyamalan, but I mean, obviously that has a part of it. So you think, okay, what's the idea here? What's really going to happen? So you're expecting for something to happen, and it doesn't. And I'm actually a bit. I don't want to say too much more, because I really don't want to like put too much of a downer on it and say how shit I think it is before you've seen it, and then we can discuss it. But for me, it just felt like there was just no punch to it at all. That he just kind of bottled it, and there's no real scares. And it's there is one scene where there's not really a twist, but it's a turning point where it is quite unnerving. You're like, oh, okay. Now it's going to start to scare. Now we're going to start to, get into the nitty gritty of it. And for me, it just didn't deliver. And it actually verges on kind of sensitive subjects about like mental health and stuff, which
really?
is it. Yeah, it doesn't go into it in depth at all. But for me, it's kind of exploiting that area and kind of just hoping that audiences find crazy people scary when they're not, basically.
Okay.
But I'm not going to say any more than that, because I don't want you to start piecing pieces together. But anyway, in terms of actual scares, there aren't really much. There are a couple of scenes where they're kind of jumpy, and kind of a couple of tense scenes where you think, oh no, what's going to happen to these kids? But I just didn't like the kids, and they're fucking annoying. So I kind of wanted them just to get killed, and so there was no real investment of the characters in there at all. And and one thing I will say is there's too much comedy in it. So when you watch it, let me know what you think as well. And especially like, there's way too much comedy, especially at the end where it really doesn't belong there at the very end. and it just feels the film feels really confused to me, and it's got some decent reviews as well. But to me, it felt like it didn't know whether it wanted to be an all-out documentary style, isolated, claustrophobic horror, which it should have been, or if it wanted to be a fucking comedy about two stupid kids, or if it wanted to be an examination about the relationship between parents and their, their estranged kids, or whatever. It didn't know what it wanted to do, so it didn't do anything properly. That was my take on it all. But I won't say any more because I want you to watch it and then we can discuss it again.
Yeah, I'll try and see it tonight. Literally, pretty much right after this.
Yeah, it may as well. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I was really hoping for at least one or two scary things, but you might think different. And there was, well, I saw it in the cinema here, and there was one scene cut. So afterwards, I want to ask you what happened in that scene, but it was a very quick one. And I think it was just some sort of brief, I don't know, nudity or something. But one scene was suddenly cut. For fuck's sake! So I don't even know what happened in it, which is annoying. So it happens quite a lot over here. But yeah, so that's the visit, and then I also I went to Thailand for the weekend. And when I came back, I watched I watched Everest as soon as I got back. The day I got back, so I was quite tired watching that. But have you seen? You haven't seen Everest, have you?
No, I haven't.
Do you know much about it?
Jake Gyllenhaal, the guy from Terminator Genesis and Lost Talk Down or whatever.
Yeah.
Josh Brolin, 0.30 man. I stuck up a mountain. Yeah. It's 3D, and there's an avalanche, and they have beards.
Yeah, that's basically it. I don't even need to say anything else because you've got it. You've got it. Hit the nail on the head. Yeah, it's basically beards on mountains. So that's pretty much it. Jason Clarke, that's the guy. Yeah, it's funny really because everyone starts off saying, "Oh yeah, the cast. Yeah, there's Jake Gyllenhaal." Jake Gyllenhaal doesn't do that much in it. He's actually not in it. He hasn't got that much screen time. The one thing that I find quite weird about it is it's got a really good cast, but it doesn't really use its cast as it should. So Gyllenhaal is in it. John Hawkes is in it. That Jason Clarke is, the Terminator guy. He's the main guy in it. Keira fucking Knightley is in it.
Weird.
And she's just annoying. Sam Worthington is in it. Josh Brolin is in it. Robin Wright is in it. It's a solid cast. It's really weird. But yeah, it just doesn't use any of them as it should. And I can't stand Keira Knightley anyway, so I'm glad that she didn't get much screen time. Emily Watson, Emily Watson's in quite a lot. When Sam Worthington pops up, who did direct?
Sam Worthington and all this.
Yeah, it's fucking like the guy from the biggest film ever made, and you're like, oh yeah, it's you. What are you doing there? And he turns up halfway through, and he's for about 2 scenes. You're like, oh, okay, see you, guy. All right. It is Baltazar Kormako. Who the fuck's that? What did he do? He did Two Guns, Contraband. So this isn't going very well.
Oh god, terrible.
He did Contraband, Two Guns, and that's basically it. Yeah. It's a telling of a true story, which I think is actually its downfall, because it's a story about basically Everest before the, I think, late 70s was only climbed by professional climbers, as it probably should be. And then they commercialized it, and then they had these adventure companies set up, and now we can bring rich people out to Everest and hold their hands and get them to the top. So then you get, these rich businessmen and these, industrialists and these fucking, these dudes paying these companies like, here's $100,000 get me to the top of Everest kind of thing. So it's set in that period where suddenly there is a scramble for business to top Everest and getting normal people to the top. I mean, people who have climbed, like not just like a schmuck off the street, but people who have got experience climbing. They've climbed like, some big, like Kilimanjaro or whatever, some big mountains. So they're not literally just rich dudes walking out the boardroom, but they are still, at least they've got enough money to pay for an expedition to go up to Everest. So there was this period where, loads of these companies suddenly set up and Everest turned into a business, and that's where it's set in that period of time. So what's his chops? Jason Clarke plays this Australian rugged mountaineer dude who's the head of one of the, or the lead ranger dude in one of these companies, and he brings guys up to Everest. And Jake Gyllenhaal is another like leader of one of these expeditions, but he's like a kind of more of a free-spirited, long-haired, sitting around like, hey dude kind of thing, doesn't take things too seriously, whereas Jason Clarke is like, okay, I do everything by the book and I get people up there. Yeah, and so then they like, and John Hawkes is a journalist, and they're like, oh no, can we really take a journalist up there? Is he going to be able to do it? But they don't really invest in that storyline very much. They just try and get him to the top. And Josh Brolin is like a rich Texan dude who's just got hard on for mountains, and he just wants to get up to the top. Yeah, and then that's pretty much it in terms of the characters. Oh yeah, and Keira Knightley is Jason Clarke's wife back at home in Australia. So all it is like close-up shots of her big fucking chin on the phone going, oh, how is he? Is he all right? Where is he? Have you heard from him? Is he going to be all right? And yeah, and Emily Watson is like the person in base camp in Everest, like phoning up, like, you know, radioing up to the guys up the peak and telling them what the weather's coming and all that stuff, and phoning home to to fucking Keira Knightley going, don't worry, he's going to be all right, you know. So it's just this big struggle up a mountain, but nothing much happens. And then there's storms brew, and then these kind of catastrophes happens, and there's avalanches, and they slide down, and they try and make it up again. And it's like man's battle again, the hardest battle kind of thing, the most dangerous thing you can do, the toughest thing a man can do is try to get to the top of Everest. Should you even do it? What's even the point? So they do try and like dive into this whole, why are we doing this? You know, why put our lives at risk to get up to the top of this stupid mountain? And it's like, well, if I didn't do this, then I couldn't live with myself. Why not, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But it just follows these characters as they try and get up there, and there's no real purpose behind it. So the film always tries to like justify itself a lot. Like, why do we do this? Why do we put ourselves through this? Why do we face such a dangerous task to get to the top of a mountain? And it's almost like the film is trying to justify itself. Like, why am I making this? Why have we even made this film? And that's what I thought at the end of it. I was like, why did you even do it? And it would have been better if it was like Sylvester Stallone and it was cliffhanger and there was a bunch of like terrorists running around, because that would have been more fun. Because it was a true story. I felt hamstrung by that true story. So certain people died and certain people survived. And it's like at the end, I was like, why did you make a story about these guys? I don't want to know about this going on.
It's interesting.
Because if it's fictional, they could have actually made it more exciting and interesting. But instead, it was like really fucking bleak. And towards the end, it was like, oh god, really? I don't want to go up to the top of Everest. It's fucking brutal. And like some of that brutal hardship is, I guess, interesting with frostbite and this like real horrible struggle. But the second half of it, especially, I did kind of just think, why have we made this? And the big like sweeping helicopter shots and the vistas, I didn't see it in 3D, so maybe in 3D would be a bit more spectacular. That stuff looks pretty good. But yeah, I really left it thinking, why bother making that? It didn't really do anything the film hadn't done. It hasn't taught me anything about Everest. It's just, you know, all it does is explain that Everest is a fucking hard mountain to get up, and maybe you shouldn't even bother trying in the first place. But the setup of it is all right. I quite like when all the characters meet, and it's this whole like camaraderie. Yeah, we're gonna make it up there. And then the storm hits and it gets pretty tough going, and then you think, oh well, okay, that's that then. It's not really worth making. And that was it for Everest. So it wasn't great. I wouldn't go out my way. I wouldn't go out my way to catch it if I were you.
No. Well, it's always the 3D thing. You know, when it's stuff like that, I'm like, it could be interesting, but am I that bothered? Probably not.
Yeah, I didn't know it was kind of sold on the 3D marketing thing. I wasn't really aware of it. I just saw a couple of trailers and I thought, oh, I could do some big scope action, but that's not really what it was. It was more just like a big, horrible struggle with snow and death.
Jesus.
Yeah, but not in like a way where you're like, oh my god, like a real suspenseful survival thing. It wasn't really like that. It was just like, oh god, really? You know, so I wouldn't bother watching it. So anyway, so then as Everest, and then the next day I watched The Martian. So that's out in Europe, right?
Yeah, funny enough, Tess went to see it a couple of days ago, and
did she like it?
Well, apparently the film cut out 15 minutes before the end.
Great.
They're like, what?
Really?
Yeah, and then they were like, yeah, we've got a problem. So here's some free tickets. And so she's like, so
What?
I'm just never going to know how it. So she's like, I'm not going to go back to see. She's not going to sit
Oh
through
my
another like
god.
2 hours or so just to watch the last like
Oh,
15 minutes.
no, man. She's definitely. You got to watch a film and then sneak into the back end of the end of that one.
Yeah.
So at some point,
Well, what did you
that's the
think? Because
shit.
I've heard different things about it.
I didn't like it. I'm gonna have to be brutally honest. I didn't really like it. I wanted to like it. I still want to like it, but I can't bring myself to. And like, it doesn't feel like a Ridley Scott film. I don't know what Tess thought, but I went into it thinking, okay, Ridley Scott. There's going to be some big epic scale going on here. There's going to be like some deep, like subject matters explored, and there's going to be some big set pieces. But you don't really get any of those things for me, anyway. And before I went into it, I was thinking it is still quite weird that Matt Damon played what the character he played in Interstellar, like
Yeah.
the dude lost on his own, isolated, and did his how he's kind of how can he survive? It's funny casting, really, that he's basically doing the same thing again, but on a bigger scale. But obviously, there's a lot more to it than that. So he's this guy who's been stranded on Mars after a mission went wrong, and he is like a botanist, astrologer, astronaut dude. So he's basically all on his own. He's got about, I don't know, a year, maybe 9 months worth of food or resources. So he's got to figure out a way of building more and creating, surviving. So it could be a quite interesting computer game, but to me, it didn't really feel like a really interesting Hollywood blockbuster film. And I guess maybe it didn't try to be. But it's mostly from his point of view because he's just narrating the whole thing, talking to himself, but not in like a Castaway kind of way. Like there's interaction, and then it keeps cutting back to like this NASA. It's like set in a few main places. Mars, obviously, is the majority of just Matt Damon in his own screen time in Mars surviving, right? And then there's the ship that had to fail on the mission, led by Jessica Chastain. And in that ship, really, Jeff Daniels, right?
Yeah. Sorry, you cut out for a sec there. Hello.
Oh, no, can you hear me?
Yeah. Sorry. So
Okay, where did you get? Where did you hear to?
I just basically heard you go blah, 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 Jeff
Oh,
Daniels.
okay, okay. Is it Jeff? That is Jeff Daniels. Okay, so yeah, so the film is set in like 3 or 4 locations. So it's Mars, Matt Damon on Mars, stuck on Mars because a mission went wrong. His spaceship, led by Jessica Chastain, who is the commander, they're like floating around space, and it's the whole "do they go back and save him" thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then the space station, NASA at home with Jeff Daniels is like the head of NASA, and they're calling the shots, what to do, how to help him, whether to send the spaceship back or whether to send their own rocket and all this shit. And Sean Bean is floating around NASA as well. He's kind of like on the astronaut side, like, of course we need to save him. Yeah, and that's it really. So Matt Damon's stuck in Mars, and he's got to figure out a way of farming his own food to try and to survive as long as he can until the next mission comes to Mars, or they can come back and save him. So that stuff is interesting, and this all this marketing stuff about like the um, science behind the film does get really intriguing. So he's like, okay, right, he's like sitting there talking to himself. Okay, how am I going to do this? Well, he's kind of recording on like GoPros and on like on the cameras and stuff he's got. He's like, okay, so I've got X amount of days worth of food. How do I grow more? Right, I need potatoes. Okay, how am I going to grow food in a hostile environment like Mars where nothing can grow? Okay, I can use my own shit. Right, let's use my own shit and use that as you know, fertilizer. Blah blah blah, and use the potatoes I've got to grow more potatoes. And it's really weird because to even explain a blockbuster like this has a huge part of it is about Matt Damon growing potatoes on Mars. It's just like it's really, I still can't get my head around it. Like why is that even interesting? But it kind of is. Just the theories of it are interesting for a while, and then it's like, okay, all right, you've grown a few potatoes, and then it does kind of get a little bit boring. and then it just skips. So then it will skip to this the space whatever shuttle with Jessica Chastain in it, and Michael Pena, you know, from a lot of films,
Yeah, that name sounds
Mexican
familiar.
dude.
Right.
He's the End of Watch, you know, Gyllenhaal's partner in
Yeah,
End of
yeah.
Watch, and he's in
So
Fury as well.
he's
He's
isn't
all
he a
and he's like
Scientologist?
huh? Is he in real life?
Yeah, I think so.
Ah, is he now? Yeah, he's in the Vatican tapes, which we were going to watch, but I don't think we didn't get around to it.
No, that's
And
right.
Ant-Man, right? So
Yeah.
he's just like again in this, he's the comic relief, like the comedy token ethnic guy, the Hispanic guy. So he does the same thing. He's for some like an Ant-Man. He was just there as the comedy sidekick, and he does it again in this. And you think, how the fuck is this guy an astronaut? He's just cracking jokes. But he's in a ship with Jessica Chastain and Katie or Kate Mara, you know, Fantastic Four
Yeah,
girl
yeah,
and House of Cards.
yeah.
So they're on a spacecraft. And like, should we go back and save him? And yeah, and Jeff Daniels is head of NASA back on Earth, calling the shots. What should we do? And they're trying to work out like, okay, it would take, I don't know, 10 months for a rocket to get out there with supplies. He's got 6 months worth of food. How is he going to survive from 6 months to 10 months? If he rations, he could get to 9 months, but how is he going to get from 9 months to 10 months or 12 months? Should we send them back? Should we send our rockets and stuff? So there has this build up with these formulas, these strategies. How would they save this guy given the different situations and outcomes? And that's quite interesting. But it doesn't get any more than just interesting. It doesn't get exciting, and there's no suspense, which you need in a, you know, fucking outer space film, like a survival film. You need at least a few scenes of like, fuck, is he gonna make it? Is he gonna make it?
Yeah,
But I didn't
bit
feel that
Jeopardy.
at all, and that's what I felt kind of left. Yeah, for me, there's no real jeopardy. It was all just a bit of like a waiting game. Like, okay, now what's gonna happen? And yeah, there was these big decisions, and it also felt like um, Jeff Daniels. Uh, yeah, it's like he's in the newsroom, right? I don't know. I've never
Yeah,
seen
Jeff
him in the
Daniels.
newsroom,
Yeah,
but
Dumb and Dumber.
yeah, and it felt like yeah, Dumb and Dumber, but in the newsroom, and it felt like it was also like leaning on his whole newsroom character of like I'm gonna sit in this chair, swivel around, and make these big, broad, like um, I don't know, like decisions and whatever, and these big speeches and everything. So he's the one calling the shots, and then Donald Glover
Yeah.
turns up. He seems to be in everything now. He seems to be like always like he's like a singer, isn't he? He's a singer and an actor and all this kind of
No,
shit.
I only found
He's in
out this
everything.
week that he's like a renowned rapper, and I was like,
Yeah,
someone was
yeah,
watching it on YouTube, and I was like, "That's a
yeah,
guy from Community." She's like, "What's Community?"
yeah. I just know. Yeah, exactly. I just know him as the guy from Community. Yeah, but he's called like what the fuck's he called? His
Like
rap name? I've
childish
forgotten.
behavior or something weird.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, yeah, doing kiddish things or something like that. But yeah, he's obviously a talented guy. He's in a lot of stuff. So he turns up in this as like the wacky, smart prodigy kid who's like, I know, like he works at NASA and no one knows his name, and he's suddenly like, fuck, I've got the answer. I can figure it out. And they're like, okay, let's listen to this kid. But yeah, there are a couple of miscastings, I'd say, in this film. One, Kristen Wiig is in it. Did you even realize that?
No,
That she's
that's
in the film
weird.
as well. So, which is really weird. So it's her like I can be a serious actress, right? But I don't know what the fuck her character was. So she's in NASA and she just like hovers around behind Jeff Daniels when he makes decisions. Maybe she's supposed to be like a press person for NASA, or like I don't really a PR person, I think. So, but she just reacts to stuff in a very dry, like, I know I'm funny, but I'm not being funny here, guys. This is a serious role, but I kind of can still wink at the camera and be kind of funny here. But no, this is me being serious. So she just reacts to a few things like, oh, really? Are you sure that's a good idea? And it's kind of supposed to be funny, but it's not. And I've heard a few people say, "Oh, yeah, I liked The Martian because it was funny," and there were a lot of scenes of humor in it, especially Matt Damon like on his own, kind of starting to go stir crazy. And there are a few funny scenes with him, like listening to music over and over and complaining about the only music choices he's got to listen to while he's stranded and stuff. But as the film as a whole isn't particularly funny. And he kind of holds himself together a little bit too well, seeing as he's on his own stranded for like a year or something. And you think he'd go a bit more mental, like a lot of the claustrophobic space films tend to make out, but he kind of handles it really well. But he's a funny character in it. He's always talking to the cameras and always like trying to make the best of the situation. But yeah, she's weirdly miscast. And also, I'll tell you what's a bit funny about it as well. I won't keep going on, but Chiwetel Ejiofor is in it, right?
Yeah.
So I actually liked his character the best. He is another NASA dude trying to piece together, working out where he's like kind of a Mars specialist, but on Earth, like figuring out, okay, where exactly on Mars is he? Oh, he's between this crevice and this mountain. Okay, if he moves south due west from there for 4 days, he can make it to this point, and blah 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 blah. But he's a good character, but he plays like an Indian dude, and that's he's not Indian. He's like, I don't know what he's Nigerian descent.
Yeah.
I found that a bit weird. Like his surname, the character in it is Vincent Kapoor, and at one point he mentions how one of his parents is Indian, his dad is Indian or whatever. But he's not an Indian actor, and I found that a little bit weird. He's obviously, you know, he's got Nigerian parents, so that was a bit of a strange one. But he plays quite a cool character in it though. But yeah, I just wasn't massively entertained by it really. It seemed to be like, yeah, it was like 3 or 4 films crammed into one. So all the stuff in the spaceship, that was a bit more suspenseful. Okay, how can we engage this spaceship to this rocket, and how are we can do this? And that was a bit more like Gravity, with these big sweeping shots of the space station floating around, and like Jessica Chastain having to go out into her spaceship and like go around. That was a bit more Sandra Bullock Gravity wise. That was kind of exciting. But and then the stuff on NASA was just like a drama. Like, what should we do? What decisions should we make? And it's kind of like House of Cards, but in a spaceship, like in a space office or whatever. And then the stuff for him stranded was like another film. So it felt like 3 or 4 different films all intertwining, but not in the best seamless way. I didn't think it had a patch on something like Gravity. It didn't have that like gravitas, so to say. It didn't have that massive epic scale and scope, but it had some really cool like vistas of Mars. Like a lot of the times you can sit back and just watch when he's just cruising around in this little buggy trying to figure out how to solve problems. You see these massive red mountains and cliffs and everything. That looks really, really good. It looks amazing actually. But for me, that was as cool as it got, really. At the end, I felt a little bit disappointed. I was a bit like, really? And the whole time I was thinking, fuck, man, just make Prometheus 2. You know, I don't know why he's made this. But there you go. That was my take on The Martian.
It's a shame that. I mean, I don't think I'm going to bother watching it. There's just so much stuff which.
A lot of people liked it. It's got pretty good reviews. I mean, it's worth watching. Just see, you might love it. I mean, it might just trigger something with some people, like, oh, this is really fascinating. If people get really fascinated about how you would survive on Mars if you were stuck there for like a year, then maybe it's the film for you. But I'd rather have a outer space film about discovering stuff. You know, that's why I like Prometheus, even if it's a bit farcical, but to discover cultures and ancient civilizations and what is out there, and these big questions. And that's why I like Interstellar. It's like playing with time and all this stuff. Maybe because it's a bit more like, I don't know, far-fetched and fictitious, and maybe that's more fun. But this, to me, was just a little bit too, you know, realistic, even though it was set on Mars. And okay, and that was it.
Yeah.
So it's worth watching. You may have to watch it, and also watch it when you do watch it. And because I would say go and see it, because there are some cool scenes in it. It does look really, really nice. Apart from later on in the film when he's inevitably going to lose weight, right? Because he's rationing. But the CGI looked really shit, I thought, when he supposedly lost weight. When it's like X amount of months into the mission, or being stranded. So look out for that. I don't know what anyone else thinks, but it felt like they'd gone, okay, Matt Damon, let's shoot the first 6 months now while you've got some weight on you, and then we'll come back, and please can you lose loads and loads and loads of weight, because you're supposed to be kind of skinny, you know, because you're an astronaut stranded over there rationing.
Like they did for Shipwrecked or whatever. Castaway.
Yeah, like they did Castaway, and like like Raging Bull, you know, even though he did it the other way around, right? He got fat afterwards
Yeah.
and did the fit scenes first. But yeah, like Castaway with Tom Hanks is like, okay, you got 6 months to lose a shitload of weight, and it felt like they're going, okay, cool, right, Matt, okay, like, how have you been? 6 months later, fuck, you haven't lost any weight, and he's like, yeah, I couldn't, I was too lazy, and it felt like they were like, right, okay, so don't worry, fuck it, we'll just CGI your body, but put your fucking potato head on top of a skinny CGI body and see if people notice it. And it just looked shit. So I wish they'd either really forced him to lose weight and put him on a proper diet, or just not bothered and just gone, okay, let's make him a little bit slimmer but not overdo it. So yeah, that didn't work for me. So when you keep an eye out for that and see if you agree. But I would watch it. Just I'll be interested to see what you think of it, because you might actually really like it.
Okay. Yeah, I don't think I'm going to see it on cinema or anything like that. I think I might just wait.
Yeah. Okay.
Just start. I don't know if I'm that bothered.
Yeah, but my last one I'll talk about quickly, actually, unless there's anything you want to say on The Martian.
No, that's good. I'm just gonna have to take a quick pause because I've really got to go for a piss.
Okay, do it.
But one sec. Keep rolling on the audio though.
Okay, so what should I talk about? Yeah, The Martian. Yeah, I was just the whole time I was hoping that he would make Prometheus 2. So I'm wondering, what is this current state of Prometheus 2? Because I've heard that Ridley Scott is supposedly in development, but then again, people say, oh yeah, he's also working on Blade Runner 2 as well. And then if he is working on Prometheus 2, where's it going to go? In what direction? I wonder. But me, I'd much rather he'd do something like that than make The Martian, even though I'm always a fan of the original storytelling and not going straight into a franchise. But again, similar to the Everest, for me, it's a survival film that kind of made me think, why bother making this? Because there's a lot of money and a lot of effort gone into this, and it hasn't really changed my world. So there you go. And that's The Martian for you. Let's have a little look around for if I can find out how to pronounce Sicario or Cesario before I start talking about it. Let's Google it. Sicario, starring Benicio del Toro and Emily Blunt. Box office for Cesario sizzles. Hotel Transylvania 2 hold and Green Inferno implodes. I'm not surprised by that. Hello, Cesario. Okay, I've just been like rambling on. All right, so I'll talk about Cesario quickly. Let's stick with Cesario. It's a 50-50 chance here, so I'm going to go with that, even though I'm probably wrong. It's probably like Sicario or Cesario. But Cesario is directed by Denis Villeneuve. I think it's the same guy who did Prisoners and Incendies. Is that how you say it? You saw Prisoners, right?
Yeah, I saw Prisoners. I quite like that. It was good.
I liked it with Gyllenhaal and like a raging, angry Hugh Jackman. I liked it. Yeah, and Incendies. I didn't see Incendies though, but it got fucking loads of good reviews, right?
I don't know what you're saying. Incendies.
Incendi. I don't know how did you pronounce it. Yeah.
What was that?
Incendies. Twins journey to the Middle East to discover their family history and fulfill their mother's last wishes. It was like I think it was up for foreign Oscar 2 or 3 years ago. No, 2010, 5 years ago, nominated for the foreign language Oscar and stuff. Yeah, it's about two guys going to the Middle East and trying to like fulfill their mother's last wishes or whatever. I remember at the time it got really rave reviews. He also did Enemy, which was Enemy is the Jake Gyllenhaal one. Did we watch that together?
No, we were going to watch it. I
did see it.
Oh, did you? Oh, I still haven't seen it. Where he played twin or something.
He played two twins. Yeah, it was quite weirdly artistic and weirdly like, it was a bit bizarre actually, that film. It was alright, but I quite like Prisoners. But anyway, so Cesario is mainly about Emily Blunt, and she plays a agent on the border of Mexico, and she gets swept up in this kind of hit mission to go into Mexico and assassinate the head of a drugs cartel. So she's kind of swept up in this whole thing begrudgingly. She doesn't really want to be there, but they need someone who's part, like an officer from that jurisdiction for some reason. And it's always, the whole thing's a bit of a mystery why they're taking her along for the ride. But it's kind of like, we need one of you here because this is a secret mission, and I think it's kind of like they need someone to point the finger at, or they need someone legally. The CIA can't be going over the border into Mexico and assassinating and doing these dodgy missions, so they need someone to legitimize it. So she's like this. She's like a police officer or whatever of a small town on the Mexican border, or like a SWAT specialist. So it's like really grounded in her character. Actually, it's all through her eyes.
Okay.
And it starts out with a really cool scene actually, where her and her team go into this house to try and find like a drug deal or whatever, and then they find loads of dead bodies basically in and around the house, and it's pretty cool, and it's quite harrowing actually, the first scene. But have you read reviews of it, or like?
I don't know anything about it, to be honest. All I've done is I've just seen posters, and there was a thing about Emily Blunt cheating on Michael Bublé or something when they were together. I don't know. That's pretty much what I've seen. Yeah, something came up about it. I can't remember.
Oh, is she going out with Bublé still?
She was. No, she's married to Jim from The Office.
Oh my God! I forgot about that. He's done well, hasn't he?
He did very well.
Yeah. Yeah, she's from the same area as us, isn't she?
Same era or area?
Area as us. Yeah. I think she went to school in Surrey somewhere.
Fuck, that's weird.
She something like Southwest London. She was born in Roehampton. She's also the same year as us. She's 1983. But I think this even closer to home. I remember reading somewhere she like went to school in Epsom or something for a while, something like that.
That's weird.
So, yeah, she's pretty. Could have been either of us.
Yeah, we could have been Jim from The Office.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, she plays this very like intense SWAT team member, officer, whatever. So the whole thing is like she's wondering what the fuck is going on the entire film. Why is she getting taken away into this Mexico? Why are they going over there? Why are they trying to assassinate the head of this drugs cartel? Who the fuck is Benicio del Toro, who's going on the long mission with her? And Josh Brolin is like this CIA guy who's orchestrating the whole thing. But Benicio del Toro is like this mysterious dude. It's like, who the fuck, why is he always around, and just how dangerous is he? I didn't know much about it either going into it. I just heard it got pretty good reviews, and I had heard that it was the Roger Deakins is the cinematographer, or the DOP on it.
Mm-hmm.
So everyone was like, "Oh, it looks great," and it does look fucking good. It looks really nice, especially the first scene when the establishing shots of around this house when you're waiting for the SWAT team to come in and break down this house. There's some really nice shots, like the shots like where he often doesn't focus on the character in the frame. He'll focus just off it on like a random book on a shelf, or like a football rolling across the floor, or there's a really nice shot at the very beginning where it's just this dude sitting down, like some Mexican dude sitting in a shitty little house, but the focus kind of tracks and goes from him onto like all the dust like floating across the room. So your eye is drawn to that. So it's suddenly like drawn really close to the camera to this dust floating across. You're like, oh, okay. And then suddenly the SWAT team smashes the wall down, and then the guy's being attacked. So there's some really nice tricks he plays that he's playing with. And a lot of the shots in the film are really, really, really nice, as you'd expect from Roger Deakins. Beautiful to look at. It's a real slow burner, man. Very, very slow burner. And it reminded me of True Detective, actually, the first season, the good season.
Wicked.
Yeah, in a way that it was that. I mean, it wasn't set in the same place, obviously, but it's set in and around the Mexican border, and in around these like slummy favelas of just inside of Mexico, and that kind of sweaty, sitting around waiting, not knowing what's going on, but there's this kind of this horrible villain at the end of this who is causing all this destruction and these disgusting murders and everything. That kind of feel for True Detective the first season, and that drawn out with the soundtrack and everything, and these long drawn out shots, and it cuts a lot to like helicopter shots of over Mexico City and seeing all these favelas and seeing the roads and the traffic, and there's really, really beautiful shots of when they fly into Mexico towards the beginning of the film, where it's a helicopter shot over and you see the shadow of the airplane going over like these mountain ranges and stuff. So you know the way True Detective, there's like, it gets very intimate with these scenes of these characters and violence, and then it will cut to like these big helicopter shots of like traffic and, you know, these aerial views, and that's the way it reminded me of it. So in that sense, it's paced really nicely, but it is a slow burner, and whether or not the slow burner is worth it, I'm not so sure. I didn't like it as much as I wanted to like it, but it does drag out in parts, actually, especially in the middle, where you kind of think, come on, okay, get on with it. Okay, we understand the hardship of this character, we understand that. But whether the payoff is worth it, I'm still deciding. I think it's worth watching, and it's like I said, visually it's a treat. And Emily Blunt is really good in it, and her character is interesting. In a similar, kind of like a much better version of the Rachel McAdams' character in the second season of True Detective, where it's like this officer who's kind of out of her depth, but she's got a lot of intensity inside her, and she's angry, and she's like, morally she just wants to do the right thing, but should she really fucking do it, because she's got a lot of issues of her own, that kind of thing. But Emily Blunt plays it a lot better, and it's a lot more of a developed character.
Okay.
But Del Toro's really good at it, so it's definitely worth a watch. You don't have to necessarily catch it in the cinema, even though a lot of the shots are really great, but on big TV at home you'll be fine. But yeah, I liked it. I thought it was pretty decent, but not quite as moving and as inspiring as I thought it would be. I thought it would be like, wow, fuck, that was really cool. It's like, you know, drug cartel action with like fucking violence and these really cool characters everywhere. It wasn't quite like that, but it was still good, and I'd still rate that over the other films I've been talking about. So that's all right. It's worth a watch. I'll be interested to hear what you think of it. Actually, I'm still digesting it. This was like yesterday, I think, no, day before yesterday. So yeah, I'm still thinking about a lot of the scenes and still soaking it in, because it is a slow soak, but it's yeah, I reckon it's worth watching. So give it a shot.
Okay. What else? Anything else you've been seeing?
Oh man, yeah, not really. Well, that's my cinema odyssey over the last 1 to 2 weeks. But yeah, I've been watching a lot of TV actually. Have you been watching Fear the Walking Dead?
So I've seen the first 3 episodes, and
How many episodes?
I think it's been 5 or 6 now.
Okay, it's been 5 or 6. Is it me, or is it actually really shit?
Oh no, don't say that. I was actually watching it going like,
I can't decide.
I've been watching it going.
Okay, what do you think so far?
So I'm at the bit where, and don't worry, this isn't a spoiler for anyone, but the military have just turned up, basically.
Yeah.
That was how it ended.
Yeah. That's kind of what it is.
Yeah.
It's gonna go shit. Well.
Yeah, it was like.
I really like the first episode.
Yeah. Well, the thing was, the first episode I thought was it kind of sagged in the middle. I was like, but I like the way it's like slowly everything's fucking up. The zombies are stronger because they're like fresher, I suppose. No one really knows what's going on, but you're a little bit like, come on, you know, get with it. I quite
know
like
something's going to happen, don't you?
Yeah, I quite like the characters. I'm just waiting. Just at the moment, I just think, right, this could kind of go either way. I'm hoping it's just going to get like really, really dark, basically. I mean, it's still Kirkman, so I mean, he's quite dark anyway. But yeah, from what I saw, I was like, I quite like the characters. All right, it's, you know, still. I just don't. I think it's kind of the pacing that everything is happening really slowly, like these little mini pockets of like zombie outbreaks. And you think, but surely, like in my head, and how I've always pictured it, is that it's almost like a wave. of stuff
Yeah.
rather than this trickle down kind of effect. And also remember, it's not just being bitten. It's like if you just die, you become a zombie. So it's like,
Yeah, which it took the other guys a while to figure out in Walking Dead, didn't it? Like a couple of
yeah,
seasons to figure out that if you die, you're already infected, right?
yeah, exactly. And
Yeah.
so I thought that was like some secret thing. I basically thought it all happened so fast that that as a secret, for instance, was a secret
Yeah.
because. But if it's like you've just got people getting up and walking around, then surely that's the first thing people say. It's like my grandmother died, and then she came back like
Yeah.
5 minutes later. I don't know. I don't know. So there's,
Yeah.
but generally as a show, I really like the fucking intro sequence. I know it sounds really stupid. It's just a high pitched noise,
Yeah, that's cool.
but I quite like that.
Yeah, I like it as well.
And I
I
don't know.
agree. I like the build up of the characters.
Yeah, I mean, there's a bit
Yeah, go on.
where sorry, yes, like sometimes I think Kirkman tries too hard to have like he has this thing where he has to tick off every kind of I keep using the word pocket, but pocket of society. So like, okay, there's two interracial relationships. There's like some Mexican guys. Like
Yeah,
someone's going to be like
it's
gay.
pretty PC.
Yeah, and he's always like trying to tick every box for everyone, which isn't necessarily a bad thing. Fine, more up for like
Yeah.
everyone being represented. But sometimes I think it's more that because I read the comics and I read the comment sections. I think I might be
Okay.
more aware of it that he's literally making an effort to, um, every kind of social thing or race,
Yeah, I know what you mean.
lifestyle,
Yeah,
whatever. I don't know.
it's like he's got a quote. Yeah, there'll be like gay zombies next. But it is quite PC in that respect. Everyone's represented. Um, but yeah, I like the way it's like this central family nucleus of it, and um, with the weird young Johnny Depp drug addict kid in the middle of it,
Yeah,
who
yeah, he was. I quite like him.
yeah, he's good, and his sister who's really hot, even though I don't know how old she's supposed to be. She's like 20, 21.
12 or something. Yeah.
No, she's hopefully a bit older than that, but she's hot. And yeah, I quite like the way it's surrounded by this like small, like this fucked up family basically, who's the dad's left him, and it's a substitute dad, right? And
Yeah.
they're just like average people, teachers, whatever, thrown into the situation. But I feel like, so yeah, I like the first episode as well. It was really slow, but at least you knew something was going to happen at the end of it. 'Cause it's like it assumes that you know that it's a zombie TV show, that you already know what The Walking Dead is, so you know something's going to happen. So you give it a bit of license to be a bit slower because you know there's going to be a bit of payoff, right?
Mm.
And then towards the end of the first episode, it's like, okay, cool. Now you know there's a couple of zombie deaths and stuff. But for me, yeah, well, you know, we're only halfway through the season, but when the military come in, I've lost a bit of interest since they've come in because they've become quite a big part of it, and I don't really give a shit about them.
Okay.
And it feels like it's trying too much, like the way The Walking Dead is basically a journey, isn't it? The whole thing, like
Mm.
just fucking trying to find survival, keep moving, going through all the forests and from place to place where they think is a safe haven when it's not. And this is really contained. And I think it's kind of too contained. So already at the very beginning, it's like, okay, military have come in. Let's secure this zone. Let's say where you can go and where you can't go. And then it's all about these characters who are kind of rattling around inside, but the tension is boiling over because they don't know really what's going on outside. But they're where they live, where they're trying to survive, is already militarized, and there's all this shit going on. There's with these weird other characters and stuff, and there's like torture and stuff. But I don't know. Watch another couple of episodes and see what you think. But I think it's slowly going downhill, and I hope that it does pick up soon because the last one or two episodes I really didn't think much of, and I wasn't really that interested in. So, no, it could go either way. Still, who knows? I almost want them to break out and start running through the forest and just having some good old fashioned Walking Dead, shooting zombies in the head and machete and samurai sword action. But I know that's not going to happen because it needs to differentiate itself. But I just want more of Walking Dead. So I don't
Yeah.
know, man.
Yeah, I don't know
We'll
either.
see where it goes.
Yeah.
Mm.
I mean, I will. Yeah, I will keep watching it. I'm still interested, but yeah, I
Yeah,
don't know.
no, I'll definitely gonna stick with it. Are you watching any other TV stuff series at the moment?
Yeah, Funnily enough, I watched the first episode of The Strain because you said about it.
Oh, did you?
Um,
Okay.
yeah, that was all right actually.
Cool,
Like
yeah.
when the airport guy got his fucking head crushed. That was pretty cool.
Oh yeah.
That was good.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm interested because
Yeah.
you said it's good. I might carry on watching it. But yeah, I mean,
It's like a guilty pleasure, but at least it's fun. You don't get any boring episodes anyway.
no, exactly.
Yeah, it's a bit pulpy. It's really silly, and there's kind of like gross, disgusting stuff in it. But it's in a good way, and the characters are very shallow and very one-dimensional, and they're just stupid. But yeah, at least it's fun. So definitely, every episode's pretty fun.
Yeah, that's good.
But the first season is better. The second season is not as good as the first season. No way.
Okay.
So I'm not struggling to the end of the second season, but I'm a bit like, nah, whereas I was really enjoying the first season. So
Yeah.
that sophomore album kind of thing. So that happens a lot. So the second season is definitely weaker. Probably push that out.
Okay.
So we'll keep with it anyway.
Yeah, I watched the new X-Files trailer actually coming out, which looks quite interesting.
What's the deal with that then? What's the whole? I didn't even really know they were, revisiting the whole thing.
Yeah, so it's going to be. I think it's a 6-episode special,
Okay.
and
Is it Mulder and Scully?
Yeah, it's Mulder and Scully, and it's got Joel McHale, who's the main guy in Community.
Okay.
He's in it as well. And they've hinted that, well, in the trailer, they hinted that the cigarette smoking man is back, which is a bit fucking weird because, like, the whole series ended with the cigarette smoking man looking like a hippie living in a cave, which then got blown up by, like, a nuclear bomb or something stupid.
Man, I can't remember. So
it was, oh, God, it was awful. But yeah, so I don't know. I think it will take, it sounds more like government focused. Like rather than it's still keeping, by the sounds of it, it's still keeping in with the X-Files main canon lore stuff of like the weird alien thing. But yeah, I don't know. I'd be interested to see what it'll be like.
There's going to be a lot of the conspiracies and the,
yeah, I think so.
Stuff that they used to have.
Yeah, I think it's going to be less.
What they're hiding from us.
Yeah, I think it's going to be less Freak of the Week and more government, maybe like a movie split into 6 parts or something.
Yeah.
What else have I been watching? New South Park has been on. I saw the first episode. That was that was okay. Yeah. I mean, I don't know. They've kind of quality.
There's like new season of stuff, isn't there?
Yeah.
There's new Modern Family and there's new Brooklyn Nine-Nine, which I like to watch as well. And there's new Fresh Off the Boat. So it's like the new season of comedy shows in the last week or so started.
Yeah, of stuff.
Quite a lot of stuff actually. Just loads of stuff.
I started watching the last season of Parks and Rec, and it's been all right. I don't know. It's a bit weird because it's set in the future, and there's loads of like jokes where they go, "Yeah, you remember how blah 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 did blah blah blah," and obviously like it's something ridiculous. And you're supposed to go like, "Oh, because they're in the future." It's like,
right.
I don't know.
Is it going to end? Is it going to be the last season?
That's it. Yeah, they finished it. So I mean, this has been it's been around for quite a while, but I haven't actually watched this last series, so I'm just catching up with that. I'm trying to think what else I've watched.
I'll tell you what, I'm looking forward to is Fargo in the second season when that's on. I think that starts next month. I think it's soon though. Maybe it's this month. It might start soon, but man, I'm really looking forward to that. That should be awesome. I hope anyway. But yeah, for me, that's the next TV series I can't wait to start.
Yeah, that should be good. I really liked I saw some of the original British Office the other day. It's just fucking weird how different Freeman is. And how Hollywood, how he's literally got younger as he gets older. What else have I been watching?
It's really weird.
It is weird. I saw the latest review was not that great, I didn't think. Don't know if you saw that, where he's in prison.
The last one.
Yeah.
Yeah, but there's a new one today.
Oh, okay.
The season's finished. Yeah, the finale was like yesterday. I literally just watched it about an hour ago before
Oh shit! Oh,
The prison one was alright. Yeah, the prison was alright, but the last one's a bit shit. I really did that.
Fuck's sake!
Yeah, the second season really fell flat. I thought they just ran out of ideas, so it just imploded on itself, jizzed all over itself, and then died. I think that second season.
I don't. It's just like just keep him as a normal guy. Weird stuff happening to a normal guy.
They just couldn't do it. It's funny though because you see him pop. I'm watching Entourage at the moment, and I'm like 4 seasons in, so it's just for me the perfect thing. Just when I got 20 minutes spare, bang, episode of Entourage, brainless, mindless stuff. But he's in that as well. The Forrest McNeil guy, the actor. So when you watch something like this, you see him pop up in different bits. So he's like in Ari Gold's agency. Just every now and then in a meeting, you just see him, and he says like one line when he was struggling to get his own show over. So this is however many years Entourage went on for, he was at it then. And obviously, it took this long for him to get his own show.
Yeah, he's been in so much stuff. I mean, he had a regular part in Eastbound and Down, to be fair, as pretty much the same character. I mean, that's all he does, really, is that
really?
guy. Yeah.
Okay.
Because the whole thing is that because Eastbound and Down is about him going back to teach at a school after being like a superstar. And so the Forrest McNeil guy is the headmaster, who's also married or getting married or whatever it was to the girl that the guy has a crush on. So he just constantly like belittles.
Oh, really?
Forrest McNeil, yeah, it's good, man. You should watch.
He's in Modern Family as well, isn't he?
Yeah,
he's in last season of Modern Family where
he's head teacher again. Yeah, same thing.
Yeah.
So it's a bit weird that actually. He's basically playing the same character again.
Well, he does look like a typical teacher, and he does look like our friend who is
Tom Stevens. So. It's literally Tom Stevens.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
What else? Did you watch that Murder in Successville?
No, I didn't.
Oh, fucking hell, man. It is so funny. If anyone hasn't watched it, there's only like 5 episodes. They're on iPlayer, but they're obviously all running out now because you stay up for a little bit. But watch the first episode if you can. It's with the guy from Made in Chelsea. I mean, I don't watch it or even know who he is, but it was fucking funny. But it's just always about...
So who's written this then?
It's just like... It's just an improv thing. It's... they've literally set up these different scenes, and they've got the main guy who looks Ed Wright was saying that he reminds him of me just basically because he's just massive. This big tall guy who pretends to be like a cop from 70s, cop show, and they go around. But it's all these like stories, and basically the celebrities have to figure out who the murderer was. And they're just coming in as a character who's like a rookie cop, and but every scene is improvised and it's live.
So it's like a murder mystery, but in a weird improvised comedy.
Yeah, with a celebrity playing the main character. It's honestly
looking now the Telegraph Murder in Successful review, an unholy mess, 1 star.
Oh,
Too many pure old jokes. It's very unfunny detective comedy, says Michael Hogan.
I guarantee you will laugh your pants off. Though saying that, I watched it with Dan yesterday, and he just he laughed like twice, and I was like, "Dude, what's wrong with you? This is really, this is really funny, right? Maybe it's just me."
Okay, I'll have to download it. I have to watch it.
Just watch the first episode. If you don't like that, then you won't like any of them. To be honest. I'll do it. But
okay, well, before we go, do you want to talk about
Before we go, I haven't even started. Talking about the films I've been watching.
What films have you watched?
Yeah, exactly.
I took it around and now
yeah, you're like, yeah. This is what I've done. So I'm off. So see,
my podcast over. How about yours?
Yeah. So, okay. Thank you for the update, Simon. just another listener.
You're just my only listener.
I'm just a live listener. Someone has to listen to me now.
Let's keep going. I just saw the time. It's all about.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I'll be really quick, but I know we kind of briefly talked about it last week. But Fantastic Four, I saw that, and fuck me, that was dire. That was really bad.
Say again.
Fantastic Four.
Oh my god, yeah, we didn't talk about. Oh, it's fucking bad, right?
It was just like it was the first 5 minutes of any other Marvel action film taking place over an hour and 15 minutes. When it was like the final
Yeah.
battle against Doctor Doom, I was like,
Yeah.
is this the end? Is this the crescendo? Like, because
Yeah.
it's only just
Yeah.
started to get interesting and it's like over.
Yeah.
But the one
I
bit
thought it
where
was like the ending. It felt like the end of the second act, right? So you're like, okay, one more act to go. The way it was paced, and then it's like, oh, it's actually over.
yeah, oh god,
Shit.
it's just so much like just took ages. And
Nothing happened.
the only bit I was like, this is pretty cool was when Doom's walking down the hallway, and it's just that shot behind him as he's just like looking at people basically, and they're like exploding. That was pretty good. But apart from that, I was like,
Yeah.
I was just waiting. I was just waiting for stuff to happen. And that last battle, I was like, this is terrible. And it's just really weird that they're like, oh, we work for the government now. No, what are you talking about? What is happening here?
Yeah,
And then it's like, oh,
and that fucking scene where it's like, oh god, when they decide the name and they're standing there and they're like, well, we need a name. Remember that scene at the end?
yeah, pretty. Well, it sure is fantastic. Hey, I've got an idea. Da 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 da. And it's the end.
Yeah, you think you like that whole time I was thinking, don't do this, don't, you're not gonna really do this. And then they say it all, you're like, oh god. You almost feel the actors just cringing when they're delivering some of the lines in that film. They don't seem comfortable at all. And apparently they all hated each other while they're making it or something. So
It's
the cast didn't work. I just didn't like the way it was shot either. It was dark and just dreary and just looked like fucking crap smeared on the lens, and just the CGI was shit and lazy, and I didn't like it at all. The atmosphere was just so shit. There's not, and it's just such a waste. I mean, you're the one who said that they made it to keep the franchise. It felt like it. It's like a uninterested film that didn't even need to be made, and they didn't even want to make it. And there's nothing new at all in there, was there?
no, it was really shit.
I actually prefer the Jessica Alba one.
Yeah, so do I.
Jessica Alba was in it. That was more. It was more camp and stupid in like.
It was just more fun.
Early 2000s. Yeah. It was that era of comic book films. Like, oh yeah, we figured out CGI. Let's go and do some stupid shit with it. But now it's like they're trying to make it serious and dark, but it's also just really shallow and uninteresting. Maybe are the Fantastic Four just fucking lame and uninteresting, and you can't possibly make a good film out of them?
Maybe. I mean, I read a few Fantastic Fours, but I just didn't like it. Like you've got like Mr. Fantastic was always like Mr. Billy Big Bollocks, who's like, oh, he's super clever, and I'm just like, I'm not interested in the fact he stretches. To me, it's quite boring. The Thing is just like a thug, like who walks around smoking cigars and just talking stupid.
Yeah. Well,
Invisible Woman is just boring. Yeah. She was just like
exactly.
And Johnny Flame was just like pretty cool in that he's just turns to fire, but they just make a really weird team. I never got sold into the fact that these four people were like mates, and I still don't. I don't know. I'm just never a big fan of Fantastic Four.
It doesn't work. And it's like, if you were the Johnny Flame guy, you'd be like, I've got much better powers than all you guys put together, so I'm going to fuck off and be my own superhero and see you later, basically. So why would you even hang around with them?
Yeah.
You can fly and shoot fire and turn into a fireball, so you've got your own thing covered there. And then there's Mr. Stretchy Pants. So what the hell are you going to do with being stretchy? I read somewhere that they wished that one reviewer said that it should have been a period piece like First Class. And that may have worked, you know.
Yeah, possibly.
If it was set in the 60s or whatever, it could have been actually a bit kitsch. Well, not kitsch. And interesting, and like, it might have had some like fun style and set design and everything. But no, they didn't do that. So
no, it's a shame.
It didn't work on any level.
So yeah, I'm just going to kind of sum up the rest of these. I saw Horrible Bosses 2. Terrible, not funny.
Oh, okay, yeah.
That's really bad. But there was the shower joke in the beginning was all right, but apart from that, I was just like, I don't even know.
I like that. one bit did make me crack up though when he had to go to the sex addict meeting with Jennifer Aniston. And
Yeah.
she's like, what did she say? What did he say? It's like, what's the
Talk about being gay and like jacking off his mate or
Is that-
something.
yeah, but little kids.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's like, so what? She was like, so what's his unit like? What neck was it? Stuff.
Yeah.
And she's like, you put it in your mouth, and you put there's a little 11-year dick in your mouth. Like, and he's just suddenly goes like, yes, I put it in my yeah, I put it in my mouth. I licked his butthole and I came all over his face. That bit made me crack up. That was the only bit, but it was so banal and it was quite pedo humor. That made me laugh a lot. Just that one scene.
That was funny. Yeah. I mean, it did make me. I found it really weird looking at Jennifer Aniston. I was like, she looks like an old mum that's had loads of work done. And I don't know, it really made me feel weird. On sequels,
Yeah.
did we talk about Monsters 2? Did I talk to you about the Dark Continent or something?
No, you didn't. You didn't actually. You texted me and said that you'd seen it, but I never got to watching it.
Really weird. It's not. It's a war film. It's basically like someone had a script for a war film, and was like, "Hey, I need to do something with this. I want to get this war film made." And they're like, "Look, dude, all we got is like monsters. Like someone needs to do this." It's like, "Okay, I'll write monsters into it. Okay, fine. Let's make it." Because it's like the monsters don't really have. Yeah, that's what I mean. They also have nothing to do with it. It's literally like the whole point of it is that all these monsters are appearing like in Iraq or whatever. So America's just bombing the shit out of Iraq because that's where all the monsters are. And the locals are like, "Hey, stop bombing us, you bastards." And they're like, "Oh, we can't because there's loads of monsters here. And we're trying to save you from yourself." So they're like going in and having to like fight against the Iraqis or whatever. And all this stuff. And that's basically it. But they like get caught and they're like get pinned down by loads and all this stuff. And it's like the monsters are just like, when you see them, they're just like walking around like, "Hey, where are we going?" And then all of a sudden you see like them get bombed.
It's got nothing to do with the aliens. Yeah, like in the last film, it was all like this low budget love story between big fat aliens that float around.
Yeah, I mean, this is literally like this guy is trying to make his gritty, realistic war film, and some of the shots are nice, and it's really weird because it's like it's the British director who did Misfits, and there's loads of British actors in it.
Oh, really? Okay.
So for like something that's an American war film, it's really British, and the main guy who's in he's in This Is England and all this stuff, the TV series. I can't remember if he's in the film. And he's been in other stuff. You recognize his face. He is really good in it. And I was watching it going like, I'm just watching him, basically.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
But the rest of it, I was just like, it's a bit shit. It's not great.
No.
It's to be honest, if you like war films, you're looking for something slightly different, then great. But if you're literally looking for like an alien science fiction thing or something, then it's totally not. It's not that. The monsters are like nothing to do with anything. But yeah, I mean, I don't know, something to watch. What else did I see? Ouija. Did you watch that?
Oh, what's that like? I haven't seen it.
Awful.
No, I still haven't seen it.
It's really bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
What was really strange is that it's got like the medium woman, and when I say medium, I mean like who talks to ghosts in the Insidious series, you know.
Yeah.
And she's like in this, and you're just like,
oh, right, okay.
You're like, it's weird.
Similar character.
Yeah, kind of. Not completely, but yeah. But it's like you're just like when she turns up, you're like, I just feel weird. This is clearly like trying to be a Insidious rip off, and he even used the same actress.
Yeah.
But it's literally like, oh, there's a presence here, and someone's trying to break their way into the world, and there's kind of like a twist nearish the end. But yeah, I didn't. It's pretty terrible. It's not. Everyone was saying like, "Oh my god, it's the worst horror film ever," and you and me have seen a lot worse. Put it that way. But
is it just like a bunch of good-looking people?
Yeah, it's kind of like a bunch of teenagers trying to solve the mystery of what happened in the house. And on that note, I watched an old film from 1980 called The Changeling. And I don't know if anyone's seen that. And I quite liked it. It wasn't like scary, but it was quite unsettling. And it's basically about this guy. This guy's family dies, and then he moves into this big house by himself. And all this weird shit keeps happening. And yeah, I really enjoyed it because it kind of plays out more like a drama than or like a thriller almost than a horror film. It's not like a proper horror. But yeah, if you want to go watch some retro horror shit, that's pretty good.
Who made it?
Who made it? It might be
Yeah.
Dario
That's amazing.
Argento, or whatever his name is. Let me have a quick look. But
Yes. 1980, right?
yeah, 1980. Yeah, it's well old.
It's
Well
yeah.
old,
Peter
1980.
Medic.
It's older than us. Peter Medak. Yeah, Medak or
Yes.
something.
Yeah.
He did. Oh, he did Romeo's
Oh,
Bleeding.
okay. I did. Some Twilight Zone.
Yeah, the Crows as well, the original Crows. But
Okay.
I really liked it. George C. Scott was really good because he's just like he's the main guy that it's all happening to, and he
Okay.
never
Cool.
feels like he's never hamming it up.
Yeah.
If you know what I mean? That's pretty good. So I'm just reading this off really quickly now. But
Ah.
Creep Show,
Is
I
it?
watched. So,
Watch that again.
huh? Creep Show. Well,
Yeah.
I'd never seen it before. Had we seen it before?
Oh, I thought you'd seen it before.
No, I don't.
Yeah. Oh no, I hadn't. No, I hadn't. I haven't actually. No.
It's the
What's it like?
It's George A.
I, th-
Romero.
I
Like,
thought you'd seen it. Yeah.
don't know. I don't think I have, or maybe I was thinking something else. It's George A. Romero
Yeah.
doing a whole bunch of Stephen King short stories, and it was
Oh, okay.
pretty terrible. It's pretty bad, but
Yeah.
quite funny. Like it's supposed to be
Is
quite
it?
funny and camp anyway. But yeah, if you're looking for some
Was
like
it Leslie Nielsen?
yeah, and Ted Danson, that's a really weird one. That one, but it's like proper like B movie
Okay.
shit. So yeah, that was pretty good. I saw Selfless, which is Ryan Reynolds, Ben Kingsley.
Oh man, that's bad, wasn't it?
That was so bad, and the
I
whole
didn't finish
time
it. I
I'm
watched.
just like, oh god, mate, yeah, you haven't missed anything. The whole time I was just like, why is he bothered? Like, why does he care? Like, he's trying to find his like previous life or whatever. Why?
Yeah. Who
I
gives a
don't
fuck?
understand
Just
the
like, yeah,
motive. So
yeah.
that it's like, oh, because I've taken okay. Like, so what? Where did you think the bodies came from? Anyway,
That's exactly what I thought. Yeah.
it's like, oh, they were
Did he
made
think
in a
that was a
test.
synthetic body? They just made it.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
that's what the guy had kind of said. Whatever his name was, Matthew Good or whatever. But it was like,
Yeah.
oh, I'm getting memories. I'm getting memories. It's like, well, so what? What do you want? What would be the purpose of you needing to like go and search out these memories? What good is going to come of it? And, that annoyed me. But one
Yeah.
good film, and I'll make this last thing before we go on to really quickly onto best movie deaths, which is what we've been talking about that we were going to do. So we have to kind of do it now.
Yeah.
Is Jennifer Lynch's film called Chained. Um, and it's
Okay.
And it's got
Yeah,
the
I
guy
heard of it.
who is in Daredevil and Full Metal Jacket, where is
Okay. Yeah.
the big guy? And basically, this guy is a serial killer.
Oh, Vincent D'Onofrio. Oh, okay. Full Metal Jacket. Yeah. Okay.
And he takes these women. And anyway, it's from the perspective of this kid, and basically, this guy kidnaps him and his mum, and he kills the mum, and he's like, right,
Yeah.
you're living with me now, and you're gonna like clean up the house and bury the bodies and all this stuff. And so this kid is like gets brought up with this serial killer, and it's like this weird like odd couple, this weird like family dynamic thing, and it's also like the argument of nature versus nurture. Like he's trying to get him to be like a serial killer like him, basically. And then you think, well,
Oh,
but
cool.
he's like trying to be like, no, I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. And then you're like,
Yeah.
but he's kind of getting, well, he's not getting into it. That's kind of part of the story. But yeah, it's good. And it was really, really good. And then the last scene that happens, very, very last scene, it kind of puts it all on its head a
Yeah.
little bit. And it really fucks up the whole film. Like it was the worst way to end the film.
No, really.
Yeah, watch it because I think you'll like it. But like when it ends, I was just like, oh, that's really ruins the entirety of what I've just seen. Like I literally, if I should have just stopped it and not bothered, but do watch it and tell me what you think. But yeah, it's really good.
Is it quite like low? Is it low budget? Like
Yeah,
quite
it's just in this house basically with this like big guy and this kid. And he starts off as a little kid and he becomes like 18. So he's there for like 10 years or so. But it's weird because it's like, it's this weird relationship where this guy feels like he is a father to this kid now. and he wants him.
Yeah.
He wants him to be more. He wants to like, you know, have like some weird duty as a father. He feels to have to do something for this kid, even though he's got him fucking chained to a bed. It's very strange, but
But
yeah.
there's like an element of like Stockholm syndrome in there.
Well, not really. Like he doesn't like. He's not like, oh, I'm in. He hates being. He doesn't want to be chained up, but
It's reversed. He wants to.
yeah. I mean, he is literally being kept prisoner, but it's but yeah. There's not much he can do about it. He's just kind of
up there for like 10 years.
yeah, for like 10 years.
Watching women get murdered.
Yeah, and he's like really like he's like really skinny because he just has to like eat whatever the guy doesn't want. So he's like really skinny, and this other guy's obviously like massive. Yeah, it's good. Yeah, it's good, man. You should watch it. Okay.
Yeah, I like the premise. It's disturbing as it sounds. It's a cool premise.
Yeah, I mean, I really did enjoy it. I thought it was cool, but and also Jennifer Lynch. It's like I don't think she's that great, to be honest. She's the one she did before. I can't remember what it's called.
What did she do?
She did one with Bill. Oh, did she? That's interesting.
Yeah, looking at this. Yeah, she's did a few episodes of Walking Dead.
What was her first film? She did it with what's his name from True Romance, Bill Pullman. True Romance. What was that? I meant Lost Highway. It's with Bill Pullman.
Oh,
they played.
No, wait.
They played like a couple of FBI agents, and
she did Boxing Helena.
Jennifer Lynch did Boxing Helena.
Yeah.
No.
She was like really young when she did that.
Oh, she was acting.
Yeah, she directed it. It says here on IMDb. She directed it. Boxing Helena, 1993.
Did she? Hold on, I don't believe that.
Well, that's what it says on IMDb.
IMDb.
Boxing Helena. The guy, he
surveillance. Oh shit.
Yeah, refusing to accept she move on. He amputates her limbs and holds her captive. Yeah, so it's another kind of captive movie. Yeah, Surveillance is. Yeah, I remember Surveillance.
Oh, well, yeah, Surveillance is what I meant. Fuck, I thought Surveillance was her first film.
Yeah. That's weird, isn't it? So she directed that when she in '93, and then 15 years later she made Surveillance.
That can't be right. It's got to be in.
I don't know. Yeah, that couldn't be because how old is she? She's 68.
Hold on. I thought when I watched Surveillance that was her first. That was her first film.
Well, if that's correct, she made Boxing Helena when she was
23 or something.
25 or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah. No, she did.
Yeah, she would have been.
She did it apparently, according to Wikipedia. Yeah, lengthy hiatus.
Yeah, but how would you even make a film like that when you're that young? Yeah,
it's mad. Okay. So anyway, let's move on from that. So yeah, okay. Si, best movie deaths. Here we go.
I know. Yeah, you start. Cause I haven't even had time to think of any.
Okay, for me, one of them, Terminator 2, thumbs up. This is going.
Oh yeah, that's a good one. Yeah, but that's like yeah, does that count? That's like that's a sacrifice, isn't it? Self-sacrifice. Still good though.
Fine. Okay, maybe it doesn't.
No, it can still work.
Rutger Hauer in Blade Runner with his like speech, but again, he's another robot. I don't know why I'm obsessed with robots.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Half of these are robots. No, they're not.
So it might as well be best robot death. Is the next one going to be Jude Law in iRobot?
Yeah. Did he die? I can't remember.
Yeah, I think fucking Robot Gigolo. He did die, didn't he?
Robin Williams, Bicentennial Man, or whatever it was. Bisexual Man.
Yeah, bisexual man. And then what other robots have died? Oh, probably some cartoon robots. Yeah, mine was probably Optimus Prime, Transformers, the movie.
That was really emotional when he gives over the Matrix. Remember?
That's but yeah, man, I'm thinking of some good. I mean, RoboCop's a good one with the guy who gets splattered against the windscreen of the car when he.
Oh yeah, when he explodes or something.
Yeah, that's a great one. Yeah.
That's pretty good. I had Doctor
That's a good
Strangelove
one.
riding the bomb down.
Oh
You
yeah, like pretty epic. Yeah.
know,
But then, so you want them like the ones you regard as best, like epic, memorable ones, not like you know
I don't know.
Tom
Like, I
Hanks,
think it's
Tom
been.
Hanks, Philadelphia.
I
I
think it's
mean,
like a bit of both. Like, not only like the
slow
most
horror death.
outrageous. Yeah, the most
Yeah,
outrageous, but also just like hard hitting. Because outrageous could be hard hitting, but yeah, like Tom Hanks in Philadelphia.
yeah. I
Yeah,
tell you what,
that's
for
like
me, the
a good.
most like
Yeah,
yeah, that's like a horrible disease. Yeah, yeah, that's a hard hitting one. I mean, there's also ones like uh, Macaulay Culkin in what was that film when he was a little kid?
oh, the good
Uh,
son or
My
whatever.
Girl.
Oh, my girl. Yeah, that's right.
My Girl. Remember Macaulay Culkin dies in that? It's like, oh my god, little kid deaths. Kid deaths are a hard one. And one of my worst ones is always like, when you watch a film again and you know a character's going to die, but you still hope he doesn't die.
Yeah,
Mine is always like Sonny in Godfather 2. Is it Godfather 2 or Godfather 1?
Sonny, Godfather. What?
Um,
The
Godfather
oranges.
1, right?
The oranges. Sorry, but the
No,
when he's at the toll
no.
booth.
Yeah. Toll Booth, yeah. Yeah, James Caan, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a
That
good
for
one.
me
Actually.
is that for me is always like fuck. Like even when I see it again, it's like no every time. Every time it
Yeah,
gets me. So that for like a character that you is really great and a really pivotal character, and it's a big turning point in the film where it's like fuck. Okay, how are we going to get past this now that he's dead? That's annoying. But then there are some great like funny ones and horror ones as well, aren't there? I mean,
yeah.
um,
I mean, another one that stood out for me was a Serbian film. Did you watch that? I can't remember. Where he
yeah,
like,
we watched that together.
did
Yeah, I mean, it's fucking
he
good.
kills the guy with his
Yeah.
dick.
Yeah.
Direction into the eye. That's pretty good. Um,
Yeah. He fucks his head to death, doesn't he?
yeah.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Uh, I quite like the Day of the Dead one when he's like getting eaten by the zombies, and he's like, "I choke at him. I help you choke at him," or something like
Oh
that.
yeah. Oh yeah. Also, Night of the Living Dead, right? The one at
Yeah.
the very end where the black dude is standing there and they think he's a zombie and they shoot him in the head.
I know
Remember?
that's really bad.
Because that's great because there's so much like political and racial stuff undertones, isn't there?
Yeah.
Obviously, the whole zombie. That was the whole Romero thing, anyway. But that was there. That was an interesting one because it was like,
I know
you're
you've
black, you
like
must be a zombie. Boom.
exactly. You've literally spent all that time with him surviving, and then he's like, "I'm
Yeah, at
safe."
the very end. Yeah.
Oh man, the mist.
John Hurt, Alien.
Yeah, Alien.
Hang on, you go.
Raiders of the Lost
Alien,
Ark.
stomach. What? The melting face, melting head.
Melty Face. That's pretty good.
Yeah, that was good. That was good. Yeah. What
Um,
are some other good ones?
I had the Wicker Man. It's pretty cool. Right at the end.
Oh yeah, yeah, pretty iconic.
Um, yeah, are you looking online? What else is there? What other?
No. Yeah, I know. Yeah,
As I hear the clicks of the clicks of mouse.
clicks. Now I've run out of my own, so now I'm going into
Giggle
most
territory.
iconic deaths.
But a couple
Yeah,
of
have
others
to.
were Fellowship of the Ring, Sean Bean, when he's getting like 1,000 deaths.
Yeah, especially when it's like again, it's one of those surprise deaths where you think, oh shit, the character's gone. The character should still be around, right?
Yeah.
That's always always a big one.
One I just thought of as well, actually, made me laugh, was when in James Bond, I can't remember which one it is, Roger Moore one, with the voodoo people guys, and
Yeah.
when he blows that compressed air thing into the guy, whatever he like expands and blows up or something.
Oh yeah. Oh man, there's loads of stupid James Bond deaths, isn't there?
Yeah, that was a good one. You've got things like
I'll tell you what I liked, like Total Recall. Total Recall, when the dude, their head explodes because they go out into the pressure of Mars or whatever. head, and then it
Oh
almost happens
yeah,
to Arnie, and it goes.
yeah,
That's
that's
pretty.
right. Yeah, that was a good
Yeah.
one. That was a good one.
Actually, you know what? A lot of them are going to be like 80s sci-fi deaths. Are
Yeah,
always going to be pretty good,
there was a
as well as horror deaths like Nightmare on Elm Street deaths, like Johnny Depp death,
yeah, the
right?
blood fountain thing.
Basically, yeah, getting fucked against the ceiling of a bedroom. That's a pretty big death.
Yeah,
Pretty
what
good one.
else? That's what I've got really. Scanners where the head blows up. That's a pretty famous one. I quite like.
Yeah, yeah,
No, they
pretty
didn't
good.
kill him in The Fly. The guy sitting on the toilet in Jurassic Park is pretty cool. Um,
Oh yeah, and also yeah, so talking of sitting on the toilet, who else? Bruce Willis, Pulp Fiction. No,
it doesn't die in it.
wait, no, not Bruce Willis. Then Travolta. No, wait, who gets shot? Who gets shot in the toilet in Pulp Fiction?
Yeah, Travolta does. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, that's a pretty good one.
that's a good
Uh,
one in that it was really like
oh yeah,
underplayed, if you know what I mean. Yeah. Um,
yeah, yeah. Oh, there's loads of like Final Destination ones. They always did interesting deaths. Um, what else? There's a lot of good gangster deaths. Talking about Godfather. Like Goodfellas. Goodfellas, they get baseball battered to death.
yeah, that's pretty good.
Joe Pesci, isn't it? He gets fucking baseball bat
Yeah,
and then
it's
chucks into a grave,
yeah.
into a little hole in the, and then that's pretty good. What else? Like Chipper, it's a good one.
Um,
Wood Chipper death.
wood chipper.
Man, there's so many. Yeah, Fargo, right? Someone gets chucked into
Yeah,
a wood chipper, don't they?
that's right. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's not how they die though. Is it? That's
What
just getting rid of
else?
the body. Can't remember.
Oh, was it? I don't know. Was it just? Yeah, it might have been. I don't know. I thought it was death as well, but it might. Yeah, it might have just been getting rid of the body. Um, what else? What else?
Oh man, we need to like
Oh,
this
there's
needs to be like
loads.
a call to action for people to write in and tell us because like there must be loads of better ones out there that I'm not
Oh
thinking.
man, yeah. There's been shit. I mean, everyone's gonna have loads that they remember. I mean, not just like dramatic, violent deaths, like Dawn of the Dead, people tearing out someone's intestines and stuff. But
Yeah,
yeah, like memorable ones or sad ones where like a little kid dies, like in My Girl, Macaulay Culkin. It's like, oh shit, and Bambi, or even whatever, memorable deaths, or yeah, or deaths
oh
that you
yeah,
didn't see. Oh shit,
like Simba's dad was it
they're pretty
Mustafa?
good ones as well.
Yeah, yeah, there must be
What's
loads.
that?
Mustafa, just like any kind of
Yeah,
Disney.
yeah.
Yes. Um,
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Disney deaths. Yeah. Oh yeah, of course. Simba's old man. Yeah, there must be loads. So I will have to
we
think of some more for next time.
Okay, well, look, why don't people write to us? You can follow us, you can email us at soggypopcornteam@gmail.com. Follow us at Soggy Popcorn. I can't remember our Twitter. Is it Soggy Popcorn UK? God, I'm terrible when I do this, and I always have it usually written down. I haven't got it in front of me now. Or you could go to our website, thewildboar.com. You can listen to our sister podcast. Why is it sister and not brother podcast? Why does it have to be girl? Don't know.
Girl on girl. That's
Girl.
why.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Which which is on the game. Girl on girl is the best. You can also follow just the general Twitter at the Wild Boar UK. Go to our YouTube page for this, youtube.com/soggy popcorn. And yeah, just tell us. You tell us what you think of the best movie deaths. There's got to be loads out there that I'm not thinking of.
The best movie death, which isn't Titanic, something like that. The one
Yeah,
person who's listening, you might
yeah,
have quite a few deaths because they don't know how many people are going to play. But you call to action.
yeah. Just deaths are good. Okay, well I think that's it. So thanks for listening, guys. It's a bit of a long one. We haven't. Siver's been away and I've been ill, so we've. So I do apologise if it's a bit too long.
Yeah,
But
we'll get back on it a bit more regularly, so we don't have to cover so many films in one hit. This
yeah,
week, I don't know what I'm going to see this week. Actually, I'm not sure what's out, but I think this week, hopefully, I want to see. I think Crimson Butthole comes out
oh
soon,
shit.
right?
Cool. Yeah, that'd
Yeah.
be good.
Yeah, I think that comes out next week. And also here, I don't know about home, but Knock Knock, which I've been wanting to see for months for some reason, the Keanu Reeves uh, film. I think is it Eli Roth? I think Eli Roth.
No.
That's coming
Oh,
out
is it?
here, I think, in a couple of weeks. Yeah, but yeah, so there's a couple of good ones, and then Spectre is out as well soon. Maybe I think 3 or 4 weeks time. I think Bond is back. So we've got some big films coming up. So hopefully we've got some big guns to talk about in the next few weeks. So that should be good.
Cool. Yeah, I don't know what I'm saying. Probably nothing. I'm gonna go and watch The Visit now after you said how shit it is.
Yeah, I know. I really want to watch Legend, but I guess you haven't seen it then, obviously.
No, I don't want to see it.
It's
I don't know
hard.
why.
I just want to see what it's like, but it's not ever going to come out in Asia. So would quite like to see Tom Hardy double up the praise, but might have to wait till I'm home.
Yeah, I mean, we were thinking about watching it later tonight, but I just can't be bothered. I'm just not bothered about the craze. I know it sounds bad, but
Yeah, I know. And it's been done so many times before. It's all about Hardy's. Everyone just bangs on about Hardy's performance, but you know.
yeah. Oh well.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Well, thanks for listening, and yeah, we'll be back soon with stuff. There.
Cool. Okay. Until next time. See ya.
Uh, stop that there. Stop that.
Okay, we're out.
Stop it all the way.